Yo, what's up, guys? Joker here, bringing you another video going over Path of Exile news and what I'm going to be doing, especially with the channel. So TLDR, unfortunately, this isn't that positive of a video. I've been sitting here trying to figure out how I want to record this because every time I start getting into it, it sounds overwhelmingly negative, and I really don't want it to come off that way. But I also am not going to hide the fact that I'm disappointed and a little upset about it. Okay, so with that out of the way, in case you're unaware what I'm talking about or haven't been following Path of Exile and Path of Exile 2 news, um, pretty much what's happening is the Path of Exile 2 beta is being pushed off 3 weeks because they're having trouble moving over MTX into Path of Exile 2 from your Path of Exile 1 account. And you may be wondering why that's important. I think why it is important is because not only did they say that all of your MTX would be able to be taken from Path of Exile into Path of Exile 2, like your stash tabs and all of that, I think that's the metric they're using to give Path of Exile 2 beta access. Right now, it's going around that there's going to be that pre purchase, but there's also going to be that accumulative lifespan spent, right? And people are assuming it's going to be about $500. That's what I have a feeling is going on, right? In the video, Jonathan breaks down that something's really wrong in their database because it is so old that accounts have like the same names and stuff like that, and they're having trouble porting all of the MTX over to Path of Exile 2 from PoE 1. And if they're having trouble porting your MTX, they're going to have trouble seeing your lifetime spent because they're not going to know what you bought, right? It's not going to be directly attached onto your account, and it could potentially cause people to lose paid items, which would be incredibly bad. So I understand them delaying it for numerous reasons, right? A lot of stuff could go wrong. Like I said, you could lose stash tabs, you could lose cosmetics, or they were using it to track who's going to be able to actually get into the Path of Exile 2 beta because of the amount spent. And that's the first piece of bad news, right? But in the video, Jonathan mentions later in the week, we're going to be going over an update roadmap for 3.26. So I started getting my hopes up, thinking, okay, well, if Path of Exile 2 is delayed, then that means we should be getting 3.26. Um, and no, we're not. But it does make sense because in the video as well, Jonathan mentions treat the Path of Exile 2 announcement as like the biggest league reveal ever, which made me feel like, okay, that's kind of confirmation. We're not getting 3.26 anytime soon. And that's kind of what essentially this post says. They were saying that they were looking at the timeline and a bunch of filler text, but they're pushing it off until late January. They're pushing off 3.26 until late January, which is insane because this year we've only gotten essentially two leagues. We've got a Necropolis and we got Settlers. We technically got Affliction if you count it, but it came in 2023. It didn't come from 2024, so I don't count it. We've only received two leagues this year, and they've both been incredibly mid. That's what brings me to the concerning part of this video, where I think no one's managing or working on Path of Exile 1 at all. I don't understand why, with all this time, they couldn't have a 3.26 out, why they're pushing it all the way until January, why they're not even just doing it at like the end of December. But I mean, the launch of PoE 2 would conflict with that a little bit. So that's probably why. Uh, but it is extremely concerning, right? Because this means that they pulled all the resources off of the base game and they're dedicating everything to Path of Exile 2. hopefully this is just for the beta launch, maybe later down the road for like the official launch too. Um, but right now it seems like they stopped caring about Path of Exile. And that's really bad because a lot of Path of Exile players don't like the way Path of Exile 2 looks. I've heard that numerous amounts of times that they either don't like how Path of Exile 2 looks or they're not planning on playing it, right? They plan on sticking with Path of Exile. And if GGG removed all the resources from the Path of Exile team and put them on the Path of Exile 2 team, and PoE is going to have very few updates where you're getting one or two leagues a year, that's going to be very bad, right? That's going to be very concerning for PoE because that would cause a huge uproar in the community. Moving on to the second piece of concerning slash bad news is this notification they decided to add to the end. Join the Settlers of Kalguur event on November 7th. Oh, that sounds kind of cool. Where we're relaunching SOK. Hmm. Okay, with a little twist. The worst part of Necropolis. Are you kidding me? Out of all the events that you could have given us, you're literally just refreshing SOK. Come on, like in this heist, in this delve, deli everywhere, where the Atlas bosses are in the maps, where like Shaper Beam could fucking hit you from off screen. There's been so many cool, good events that they could have done, and they decided to go with restarting SOK, which is definitely a option, I guess. And then if you reach level 50, you get a free Settlers mystery box. Once again, interesting choice, especially since we're going into the holiday season and you've given us continuous bad news. I would have said something more like you get a mystery box at level 50, 70, 90, 100, like what they do with the gauntlet type things, because one, we're going into the holidays, and two, you've already given us two big pieces of bad news. You kind of have to give us some good news at some point, right? And this is not it. I don't know if I'm planning on playing this. November 7th, Brighter Shores comes out, and I'm going to be trying that. It's the game, it's another game made by the same guy that made RuneScape, so it seems like it has potential. And then later in November, on November 27th, the Raging Echoes Leagues for Old School RuneScape launches. I'm going to be playing that. And then right now, there is a open beta for Monster Hunter Wilds from the 31st to the 3rd. So that's going to be really cool there as well. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing. I don't. Oh, as well as there's a current Torchlight season going on, and I put a bunch of time into it. It's a really good season. Essentially, they changed everything and made it like significantly harder, as well as potentially Last Epoch's probably going to give some kind of news of their next cycle. We have Once Human that's still going on, so I still have a lot of stuff that I am currently playing, but I was really excited for Path of Exile 2, and now I'm a little sad, but more than anything, I'm concerned from the lack of support Path of Exile seems to be getting. Since I don't want this video to be infinitely long, that's where I'm going to round it up. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with this and future content. I don't know what I'm going to be putting on this channel, if anything. I may have a video or two about this event, right? That's pretty much it. But yeah, that's it. Until next time, take care.